locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. I'm locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, I'm all yours. Locked in, going all out, no fear, no doubt. My God, my choice, your will, your will, your will. Locked in my decision to have a collision with my purpose. It is my assignment to be in alignment with my purpose. Have a collision with purpose, 'cause you know that you're worth it, and your dream is worth capturing. If I'm not living on purpose, then none of it is worth it. My assignment is uplifting souls for the King, souls for the King, souls for the King.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to In the Spotlight. This is the home of unfiltered conversations where real talk is what we do. I am none other than Dr. Donna Thompson.
And I'm Dr. Laxley Stephenson, and we are your moderators.
Yeah.
Wow, I like to say that. Can I say that again?
Yes, absolutely.
We are your moderators.
Hello.
Thank you for allowing me to do that. I really appreciate it.
No
Highlight
worries.
of my week so far, to be able to say that, and just to be here, to be present on this platform, and to say thank you for another Thursday, another day.
Yes.
How you doing?
Another Thursday.
How you doing?
I am great. I am actually great. Today is, a great day. I'm here. I'm blessed. And most importantly, it is not as frigid cold outside today.
What a thing, right? We have this Arctic weather in Atlanta. Wow, isn't that something?
Yes.
Isn't that something?
Our snow day was quite interesting.
Yeah, but you know what? It's okay. It's amazing. We welcome it. We welcome it, because guess what? We are here. We're alive. We're experiencing life. So we got it. It's going on, right? It's going on. So welcome to the show. Again, you're watching A Collision with Purpose in the Spotlight. We have an exciting show for you tonight. We have an amazing guest all the way from Jamaica, Trelawney. She hailed from a place called Warsaw. Trelawney in the cockpit country of Jamaica. So we're going to be having a great conversation with her today. She's, I'm not going to give it away, but thank you for joining us, Lisa. You're just amazing. We look forward to having our show just to see you on the platform. So we appreciate you joining us today. And Donna, we have some other folks. We don't know who they are. Quite a few people are already logged on, but we don't know where they are. So let's welcome them, even though we don't know who they are.
Yeah, well, welcome. If you're on and we don't see your name and you care to share your name with us, that would be wonderful as well. But we're happy you're joining us this Thursday evening.
All right. Yes, we're happy, because this is not about us, is it?
No.
It's about those individuals who, see what we're doing here is important enough to join us, to take time away from their busy schedule. We appreciate you, and we'll ask that you share, because they say sharing is caring. So please go out there and share it. Thank you, Jody and Gordon Williams. Thanks for joining us. Good evening. Good evening. Donna, what's popping in your world?
What's popping? Okay, so hot on the plate is we're down to the wire. We're down to the wire for the colloquium. So
let me bring it on stage, seeing that you're going to talk about it. Let me bring it
sure. Absolutely.
All right.
Yes. So our colloquium, right, happening February 22nd. So we're a little bit right at 30 days from this phenomenal event that will be taking place. So that's really what's on my radar right now, is putting the final touches and making sure everything is just going to be a very wonderful evening that we're going to have. So yeah, so that's what's on my plate.
Right. So this colloquium, our second one, our first one was in March of last year, and that was an amazing event, right? It was so powerful, it was so impactful. We left there inspired. So with this one, our second one, we are better at what we do because we're always improving, we're growing, right? We're not stuck in a place. So I can only imagine what you have in store for us, because you don't tell me these things, you don't share these things with me. No. It's all going to be a surprise for me,
It's a big secret.
Big secret, right? But I tell you what is not a secret though. Tickets are on sale. You can get them at, if you mind, you can post the link in the caption.
Here.
You can get the tickets. Purchase your tickets now. Get them. They're moving fast. They're selling, and we will be giving away. Students attend all of our events for free, and we will be giving out 5-6 scholarships to students who are in attendance. They must be in attendance to receive these scholarships. So those are scholarships we'll be given to students who are at the venue. We'll also be giving 1 or 2 scholarships to students attending school in Kenya, Africa, East Africa. So we're going to be doing that. So it's going to be an event of honoring individuals who are doing purposeful work. They're living in service in their communities, and they're making things happen. So we're going to be giving them, recognizing them, giving them their flower while we can and while they're here to receive it. So that's a big piece of what we're going to be doing, right? Let's recognize some of the folks. Marsha McIntosh is watching. We have Carol Stu Price. We have our good friend, Mrs. Hilda Hibbert. She's on the platform. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, so back to the colloquium, Donna. What else do you want to add about it?
Yeah, so definitely it's an event where I encourage everyone to have a seat in that room, right? You don't want to miss out on it. It's going to be like you said, Doc, fun-filled entertainment. And I think what's an important thing, it's an evening where we get to come out and honor each other for the work that we're doing in our various communities, network with each other, and just, really that real networking is really, I find that to be very, very rewarding when you come out and you can network with other individuals and kind of come out of your silo worlds, right? And just come together and see what's out there and see what opportunities is actually out there for you. And I tell, individuals, just come, to have an evening that is fun. You're going to learn something. You're going to leave feeling inspired, empowered, because this is what it's all about, is us inspiring and empowering individuals. And just look forward to growth, pour into yourself and look forward to growth and what 2025 is going to bring for you. And what a time to have this, right? The beginning of the year, the beginning of the year. So you have, the rest of the year to just improve on yourself. And the big thing that we're going to have is the launch of this body of work, Daily Insights Unveiled, Your Odyssey to Find Purpose. Oh my gosh. There is not enough words to express and explain what this work will do for you. The only thing I can tell everyone is that you need to purchase a copy of this book. You have to have a copy of this book in your hand. It's something that, you know, you're probably just going to have to want to walk with it every day, wherever you go, because it's something that is going to inspire you. It's going to empower you. And even if you're just going through your day and you're having a hard time, you could turn to any page in this book and be uplifted. Wow. And that's what I love about this work. It's not a book that you necessarily say, oh, I have to read from the beginning to the end. You know, it's one of those books where, you know, depending on the moment that you're in, the emotion, the feeling, whatever is happening, you could just open that book and it's going to speak to you, personally speak to you. Speak to you. So, you know, you just have to come out and get this copy of this book.
And each purchase of a ticket guarantee that you receive a signed copy of your book. So when you purchase your ticket, that will be a purchase of a book as well. And for the same price, $60 to enter the event, you get a signed copy of the book. And as you said, Dr. Donna, it's a must read.
Yeah.
And before the night is over, we might just do a little bit of reading. How about that? Because we have an educator on with us, and you know, she's into reading and all that good stuff that they do in school. So this might be an opportunity to read one little section from the book, because reading is what it's all about, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's all about. So let's not keep her waiting much longer. Let's take a break, then we bring her on. Okay? Let's do that. Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection, and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid. I put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth, cause I know to whom I belong. I am bold for Christ, Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Loving others as He told me to pray, for healing, miracles to see, knowing my identity in Christ, He is in me. I am a bold kid, He loves me, standing firm on His word, proclaiming everything I heard, not afraid because He is with me. Be bold. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid. Put on my armor and I read His word, blessing come out of my mouth, because I know to whom I belong. I am bold for Christ, Holy Spirit dwelling within me, carrying His presence wherever He sends me. I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid, I'm a bold kid.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back. For a moment there, I got caught up in that song, Bold Kids, you know. So welcome back to In the Spotlight, where it's all about raw, unfiltered, where we leave nothing on the table. So Donna, let's bring her on.
All right. So just to give us a little synopsis of who we have here. So we have none other than Mrs. Michele Smith-Gilzine. She is, I mean, she's going to tell us all about herself, right? But she's a mother, she is a wife, and she has a very important job that, besides being a parent, right? One of the most important jobs is being a parent and a wife. That's a lot of work. But she is an educator, and she has been in this space for over 30 years. So that tells us something. right? She's been in this space for over 30 years. She started as just, your regular first grade teacher, and she's worked her way up, and she's now a principal of that school. So I can't wait to hear about, all the work that she's doing, not to mention the fact that she works in her community. She serves her community. She's done like a food pantry when they had the COVID that was going on, so that she could help her community. But I'm not going to give it all away. So let's go ahead and bring on none other.
Let's do the thing. Let's do the thing. Whoa, and there she is, just like magic. She's on the screen.
Hello, and welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome. We are honored to have you.
Okay.
We are honored to have you. How you doing? Anyway?
I am doing great. I have life. I'm on top of my grave. Couldn't ask for anything else.
You're not below, you're up. Isn't that a powerful thing? So profound. So, we were having a conversation earlier backstage, right? We're having a conversation backstage, and we're talking about where you're from. Can you share that with us, where you're from?
Okay, so I'm a Trelawney girl. Grew up in the deep rural community of Warsop. Warsop has, other several districts that would make up Warsop. So I'm from New Roads, Wilson Valley, New Roads. My parents are farmers. My father still farms. He'll be 80 next month, and he gets up and goes to the farm every morning just the same. And my mother, she did poultry farming for all her life, for most of her adult life, while she still worked as a community health aide. I am from a community where I could almost say there are no lazy persons. There were no lazy persons. People would get up early in the morning, in the dark. Now they would call maybe now daylight saving time, when you get up and it's still night. And they would go out early with their machete, their forks, their hoes, their pickaxe, whatever it is that is used on a farm, to go and work to provide for their families.
Wow.
That's the community that I hail from up there in Warsop.
Wow. It's right up there in the country. And I've been to Warsop, right? And for me, it was such an interesting thing, because when you go into Warsop, Donna, and you see, men and women walking around with their machetes, but they're going to work. It's like it's a tool to work, to produce from the land, to grow from the land. And what's the main crop there? Can you share that with us?
The main crop that is grown in Warsop is yellow yam.
That's
yellow yam.
Yeah. So Donna, driving up there too, you see piles of yellow yam on the roadside. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
And they harvest their yams. You see.
Yes, the heaps of yellow yam.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and you know what they say about the yellow yam and our number one athlete in the world? It's all about the yellow yam, right?
All about the yellow yam.
And the wildlife, the birds.
Yes.
Tell us about the parrots, the birds.
I remember as a child, the boys, I would be around with the boys at times, and they would set traps to catch parrots that they thought they could teach to talk. But then in the end, they would end up in the pot to make soup.
Yes, parrot soup. In fact, I remember I was visiting a friend of mine in Duncan's, right? And they had a parrot in the house. So there was a young man visiting, and he had his eyes on that parrot, because all he was thinking about was soup.
Parrot soup.
Parrot soup. That must be a tasty soup, because he wanted to take this bird out the cage and drop the bird in the pot.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Parrot soup.
Those are some of the things that, as children, I would say we were free to roam, to go into the bushes with each other and just to have fun, interact with the wildlife like the parrots. And we would go to the river and they would catch I think they were shrimp, some little things from the river. They would catch those and we would bathe and just have fun. You pretend to take some clothes to the bush to wash, to the river to wash, as an excuse to get out of the yard. So that was an excuse to go to the yard, and then the entire day would be spent playing in the river.
Wow. Exciting. Just a natural life, natural lifestyle, living with nature. And Donna, that's amazing stuff. You got to go there. You got to go check it out. Now, you growing up in the rural heartland, right? In Warsaw, taught you a lot. And, this shape your deep-rooted passion for service and leadership. How did that happen? Because your life is all about service and leadership.
Yes, that's true. And the beginning started at church. I grew up in a Christian household, and our life was school and church. So on Saturdays, we would go to church, and several days in the week, maybe 2-3 days out of the week, we would still go to church. And this is walking miles to get to church. We would go for practice because we are preparing for something on the weekend at church. And as children, we were encouraged to take part, right? We were encouraged to take part. The leaders of the church, it was not, you're a child, so sit over there and watch. You cannot take part. They immersed us in church life. And church life also took us into the community. So if it was outreach, we would be going. If it was going on a prayer walk, they would take us there. So that is my foundation. I would say that was my first university.
Oh.
Wow. Donna, I can see you buzzing to go with a question. I'm turning it over to you.
Yeah, so because of course, like you're explaining to us that your childhood was so rooted and grounded in church. Can you share with us a moment when you realized the power of serving others coming from that background?
All right. So my mother, besides being at church and getting immersed and serving at church, my mother at times would cook. And when she cooked, I would be one of those out of 4 children. I would be one of those that she would maybe send me or send 2 of us to visit an elderly person to take a meal to them. And when you take this meal, it would provide satisfaction to the person that was hungry and needed to be fed. But I found that I too got satisfaction from it. When an old person rubs your head and says, "Thank you, me pitney. God bless you." That does something for you.
Wow.
That did something for me. And, I think that is one of the places, one of the things that has helped me to want to and to continue to serve others.
Wow. Thank you, me pitney.
Thank you, me pitney.
God bless you. What joy did that bring?
Yes.
Wow. Talk about fulfillment. Talking about having a meaningful life. Growing up. Wow. So it's obvious you had some special people in your community and in your surroundings. Very obvious. Which of those individuals you think was most prominent in your life, helping to shape who you are today?
There are many of them. One person that stands out clearly in my mind is Mrs. Hutchinson, teacher at Warsaw All Age School. She taught at Albertown High School, and she left Albertown High School and came to Warsaw School as I was transitioning from grade 7 to grade 8. And I remember one teacher told me when, she wanted to find out what I was going to do next year, because, it was kind of a sad thing not to get the common entrance and not go on to high school and then have to go on to grade 7, then grade 8 and grade 9 at the all-age school. And I remember a teacher asked me, "What are you going to do next year?" And I said, I wanted to go to a certain high school. And the teacher at the time said, "Why you don't just go and learn dressmaking?" At that time, you would think that as a child, it was not something that was dubbed as fashion designing and, creating a great, it was something that just go and go do that because there's no sense in you. But when I went to grade 8 and Mrs. Hutchinson started teaching us and pulling out of us what I did not know that I had and what many of us didn't know that we had, something came to life in me.
Wow.
Something came to life in me, and it has impacted me to this date, never to give up on any child. There is something there that if you just take the time, you can pull out something out of them, something positive.
Never give up on any child. I want you to say that out loud again, because we need to hear that more often.
Mm-hmm.
Never, ever give up on any child. Children have different intelligences. So this one might not be able to learn as that one. Let us take the time to find out how we can reach them and do all that is possible with the help of their parents to reach them and help them to excel, wanting to have something to look forward to. Thank you, Mrs. Hutchinson. You made an impact on me, and I want to thank you so very much. She wasn't the only one, but she is the one. When I transitioned from the primary section over to the section where I should be going to high school, and somebody was saying, "There's no sense," Mrs. Hutchinson made me realize that there was hope.
Wow.
And it's so interesting, right? Because it's like, as a child, when that one person said that to you, that could have just destroyed you and devastated you.
It could.
Right? And then
it could.
Someone else saw your potential and poured into you.
Amen.
And that someone is who?
Mrs. Hutchinson.
Say it out loud. Where is she now?
Mrs. Hutchinson retired, and she resides in the hills of Warsaw, just the same, over all sides. Another district of Warsaw, all sides.
Are you in contact with her? Do you ever see her?
I have not seen her for some time, which is bad. But, she remains constant in my memory, and she's honored. And I know that I need to do something. I need to go and see her and say thank you.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Let's make that happen. And when you see her, tell us about it.
Yes, I will.
Tell us about it. All right. Awesome stuff. Donna, put it back to you.
Sure. So I see where you've after reading more about your journey, I see where you refer to Philippians 4:13 quite often, right?
Yes.
And you said this has, basically been your life's guiding verse. Can you share with us a time when you were, at your really lowest point? And how did the scripture help you to rise above that adversity?
At one point in time when I was doing my first degree, I had to be traveling down to Montego Bay in the evenings. I had a car, but I could not drive because I feared driving. Wow. I could not drive. I was afraid to just go around the steering. I could help myself, and if I put my mind to it, I know I could do it. But I was so fearful. Driving from Duncans to Montego Bay, I could not see myself doing that. And classes would start at 5 p.m. and it would end at 8. And one evening, you're going to class, you're tired because you would have spent an entire day teaching. You would have, and at that time we had a shift system. So school would start at 7 for us most of the time. Our principal was kind enough to allow most of us who were studying that late in the evening to come on somehow on the morning shift. So we would be there from 7 o'clock, and then we would make our journey to Montego Bay for classes. Tired, broke. Sometimes we could not buy not even a cup of soup, and having to, after class, run jostle with others to try to get into a taxi, wanting to reach home before 10 o'clock and reach home safely. And I remember one night, this girl was practically cursing me, move over in the car with your fat self. You think of your car alone? And I remember my friend, I hope she's on, Geraldine. I remember Geraldine said, she used the B word. I said, you see you? Drive the car, because if you were driving the car, we wouldn't have to be in this car bundling up with everybody. And, that, along with Philippians, that I was so embarrassed. It really made me feel bad. And one evening with Philippians 4 verse 13, I went around the car. I took the car. I didn't even tell her I was driving. She saw me in Montego Bay at class. I drove the car from, first of all, I used to start driving from Duncan's to Falmouth. And I know it was the mercies of God that kept me, because I would find a place that I would park where as soon as I get in the car, I didn't have to reverse. I didn't have to do anything. All I needed to do was to drive forward in the car. So I did that over time. And then one evening I decided that with God, I can do all things. And I drove myself to Montego Bay without telling Geraldine. When she got there, she said, oh, I never know so you could do it. I didn't do it. God, it was through the help of God and depending on his mercy that I overcame that fear and was able to start my journey driving and being able to, get there in time, to come home in time to relieve my helper so that she could go home to her children and I could spend a little time with mine, helping them with homework and that. So I still rely on Philippians 4 verse 13. I could go on and on about instances that Philippians 4 verse 13 would have taken me through, knowing that it was not on my strength, but on the strength that I would have gained from relying on the Lord.
Wow. That was really overcoming. Yeah. Because it's yeah, I mean that's a serious fear. I mean any fear, right? You're so fearful that it keeps you stuck.
It cripples.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It cripples.
But you woke up.
Yes.
You got up.
Yes.
They say it takes a significant emotional experience to effect change.
Yes.
And when that beating that lodged at you, that was a wake-up call for
yes. Yes.
It was a wake-up call. And it did it. And whatever other things that happened, now driving was no longer a fear that you
no.
And it changed everything for you, didn't it?
Yes, it brought about a big change in my life, because there were now some evenings when I became braver that I would take my children to class with me.
Okay.
Yes, I would take, and it was with a purpose. I took them to class with me because they would be here with a caregiver in the evening, and they would be wondering, where was mommy going? And I would use that. I used that opportunity at the time when I started to take them with me sometimes to say, mommy wants something better. That is why I'm going to school at night, and it is hard, but I have to go. It will soon be over. And I'm asking you, please, children, try not to wait like me to do part of your education at nights. Go to school, do all that you can so that you can do it, let us say, in the right time, right? That helps me to help to motivate them to do well and want to aspire to something.
Wow. I think this is a good time to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about education and your career, because that is what it's all about. You know, we touch a little bit on it. So let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about that stuff.
Okay.
Caught in the web of what they said, lost in the expectations, living in hesitation. I walked in other shadows. Deep inside, a fire burned, a whisper turned to a roar. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self, breaking chains within. From the shadows to the light, a new life begins, shining so bright. Society tries to mold you into someone you couldn't be, fighting through the darkness to find the real me. No longer bound by others' rules, let your spirit soar. With every step you take, you are stronger than before. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self, breaking chains within. From the shadows to the light, a new life begins, shining so bright. Breaking away from the shadows within, I rise up and shine from deep within. A beacon of light I'll always be, living in truth, walking in victory. I am free, yes I am free. From the shadows to the light, I am free, walking in my truth, forever free, living in victory, shining brightly. I am liberated from walking in other shadows. I walk in my authentic self, breaking chains within. Breaking chains within. From the shadows to the light, I walk in my authentic self.
I walk in my authentic self. Welcome back to In the Spotlight, where it's all about raw and filtered, nothing left on the table conversation. Our guest tonight is Principal Gilzine from Duncan's All-Age School in the beautiful parish of Trelawney in Jamaica. And she's here telling us what it's all about, growing up in a rural area and how it really made a difference in her life. So Donna, let's talk a little bit about her career journey and the role of education in her journey.
All right.
You want to lead off, please?
Oh, sure. All right. So we see here where you've been in education for a very long time, like 30 years, 3 decades. Oh my gosh.
And that's why it's a journey.
It is a journey that I started very early.
Yeah, you started from teacher to principal, but your career has spanned over 3 decades, right? As we say. If you could tell us, what is one of the most profound lessons in this journey that has taught you about shaping young minds?
Listen, children are like, they're like sponges. They soak up anything that you give to them. We have to be careful what we feed to them. We have to be careful how we speak to them. We have to be careful of our overall general attitude towards them. Because as I mentioned before, when that teacher tried to say, go and do that and maybe not aspire for anything else, somebody was there to pull me up. And I have made it my task not to give up on any child. Because the child that you have now, starting at, let us say, grade 1, we start at grade 1, that child becomes an adult. That child becomes a mother. I have children at school now that I call my grandchildren because I would have taught their parents. And when when most of them come back, they will come and say, hi, Mrs. Gilzine, and they will remind me of something that I would have done or another teacher would have done to make a positive impact on them, right? So knowing that we can influence young minds, educators, anybody who has anything to do with children, I would advise them, sow positive seeds, because it is what we sow that we are going to reap, right? Let us sow positive seeds in our children. Let us encourage them. When it seems as if they can't go on, let us find a reason to help them to go on. They are the future. They are the ones who are going to come, and they are going to replace me. They are going to replace you, Donna. They are going to replace the current pharmacists that we have in the pharmacies. Would you like to know that you planted some negative seeds and that child might still have something there, and you go to collect your drugs and you get some pills that look like the one that you're to get, which are not the right ones? Let us be careful.
Wow.
You know, as I listen to you, I need to send my grandkids to your school. That's all I'm thinking. I need to send my grandchildren to come to your school. Because what I'm thinking, right, as I'm hearing you, your teachers, the ones that work for you, under your leadership, are they have the same principles that you are?
Yes. I have, I had good role models. It's not all about me. I have had very good role models. Teachers who would have mentored me. And in turn, as I became more proficient in the career, I would have mentored many, many other teachers. And right now, I have teachers on staff. I have one teacher on staff now that would have mentored me in the past when I thought too, because fear was always there. And when I thought too that I could not manage, I have a teacher on staff now. At some point in time when they said they were taking me from grade 1 and putting me at grade 5, and I thought it was punishment, and I knew I could not manage. And I was in the staff meeting, and a teacher wrote a note and said, "Miss, you got this, you can manage." And I still have that teacher, and I still have teachers like that one that continues to mentor our younger teachers. And we're hoping that with these younger teachers, as they become more proficient, they will be giving of their best to the children that they serve.
Wow.
As a follow-up, the way you speak and talk about education, it is obvious that it's not just a profession for you. It is a calling. This is your purpose. You're not just doing work. Now, when did that realization hit you that this is why you're here?
Doc, when all those who know about educators in Jamaica know that it is not a job that pays much, monetarily. I don't know if you can become rich, financially rich on a teacher's salary. But I am very rich. I'm extremely rich. When you see a student that you would have taught years ago, and that student or those students are now grown, and they still refer to you as teacher, and they say, when you say, where are you? What are you doing? They can say, I'm a welder. I have a welder that does work at my school. He's one of my students. I feel very proud. 2 of them. I feel very proud. We would have poured into that welder. Right? I have students who are farmers. We have students that would have passed through our hands that are doctors. Any level of education that you can think about, we would have touched those lives, right? And in touching those lives and seeing them excel, wow, what a payment. What a payment. I still want money because I still have to live. I want money. All of us want money because we still have to live. The mortgage has to be paid. car payments must be made. Our children need to go to university. So we need money. But there comes a satisfaction in knowing that child, I made an impact on that child. It is fulfilling.
Wow. Donna, what are you thinking, Donna, as you're listening to Principal Gilzine talk about and the passion that is just coming out of her? I feel it's almost like she's coming through the screen, right? You know, she's so passionate, so focused, so intentional.
Yeah.
About her calling. Because I don't want to refer to it as work. So what are you thinking, Donna? What are you thinking?
You know, I'm truly. It's so different. Like what she's sharing is different from some from some other teachers that I've heard in conversations, right? Where you would, this is the flip side, where I've heard conversations where children are referred to as they're bad, you know, they're this, they're that, they're, you know, all the bad things, you know, coming from our educators. And educators are the ones, just like what you're saying, I think they have the greatest impact on our children to make or break them. So hearing you, Ms. Gilzine, speak about so passionately about the work that you're doing, you know that it's not just a job. It's really a calling. It's a gift that that you've been blessed with. And and it also let us know, like, you know, anywhere you go, like a teacher's salary is not the best, right? It is something that you really have to have a passion for. It's one of the most important jobs that you can have in our, you know, in our environment, in our society. Well, probably one of the lowest paying jobs, right? Because like you said, our teachers, they're the one that's determining, or lawyers or doctors or nurses or everything. But unfortunately, it is one of the lowest paying careers. But it is one that is so important because you do have to have a passion for it. And you do have to have that servant leadership spirit about you, because it requires that for you to be able to stay in that profession. So I definitely commend you. I definitely commend you. And I pray and hope that we have many, many more that have the same mindset like you do, especially when we're talking about our children and our future.
And let me read a couple of comments from two teachers. One actively teaching and one retired. And Mrs. Hibbert says, so very true. That is my reward in seeing the progress of my students.
Yes.
Now, take it from her. She's been a teacher for a long time as well, a career. And Marsha McIntosh said that Martin said, always proud moments when you run into your students, adults out there. Wow. That is from two teachers. One still, well, they're both teaching, because once you're a teacher, you never stop teaching, right?
Yes.
It's a lifelong thing. So, yes, powerful stuff. Now, you have to make decisions as a leader, right? You are the head of that institution. So that's responsibility beyond teaching, right?
Yes.
You're in charge and you got to make decisions. Can you share a moment in your role as a principal where you had to make a difficult choice that ultimately changed the life of a teacher or a student?
I remember when I took on the role of principal in 2016. It was fulfilling. I knew the task was hard. Dealing with people, you know, it's hard. And I remember I had a teacher that was consistently late, would be unpunctual more days than she would be, the person would be early. And I exhausted all the avenues of getting her to comply. face-to-face conversations. Supervisors would talk to the person, I would talk to the individual, letters would be written, and nothing would change. And the decision had to be taken to take that person to the personnel committee of the board. It was a very hard decision for me. And it had to be done because nothing else worked at the time after exhausting everything. But in doing it, I know the person was not happy at the time, but I saw changes. Person started to comply. Person now became that person at times who would be talking to those that she would supervise about ensuring that they are at school early. So hard decisions, they must be made. If we back down from them, things are going to topple. Things are going to get worse. If you do not deal with it, if you see that ant that eats down the place, I don't remember, duck ants, I call them duck ants. If you just realize that there is a duck ants, you see one or two, or you see the line that they build, that little thing that they build, and you do not treat with it immediately, it's going to be like the boll weevil. They're going to eat down everything around you, and it is going to topple. Let us make the hard decisions. They are not comfortable, but they have to be made for the institution, for things to flow smoothly, and also to set an example for those others that we would lead.
Wow. Decisions must be made whether they're popular or not. Absolutely. Now, we're going to talk to you about community service and your humanitarian work. But before you go there, what kind of challenges are you dealing with at the school? What kind of needs that, resources or things that you're lacking there? What are some of those things?
All right. One of the challenges that we are facing now, I'm going to answer about the resources, but one of the challenges that I know that as teachers we talk about constantly is for guardians, parents to take on the role as their children's first teacher. Take on the role as their children's first teacher. We have a challenge right now with a number of children struggling to read, really struggling readers. And when you have a one-on-one conversation with parents to find out what happens at home, and I don't want to generalize, but with some parents, especially with those that are having reading difficulties, when you ask the question, tell me what a typical evening looks like at home. The children come home, they eat their dinner, they play with the tablet, or they do their homework. And this is done without getting assistance. I try to encourage my parents, when the children get home, have some kind of structure. Yes, you want them to have the little fun, their time to, my friend who said de-shackleize, meaning to relax. And meaning, just to relax and have a little me time for themselves. So they would play, they would have a snack or have dinner, have a shower, maybe do some homework. But in that 45 minutes or half an hour before bed, it is time for parents to take a book. And if it is in the settee or in the bed, curl up with them, read for them, read with them, so that they can have an example to follow. If children see parents reading, they will copy. I saw a video where this little boy saw grandpa walking with a stick, and that little boy walking exactly like grandpa, bending the back because he's copying grandpa. If we take books and read, our children will take books and read. Right? So we have to set the example for them and make the time for them. Let them know that education is important. Let them know that education is important. One of our greatest need at the school right now is a need for additional space where our children can gather for general assembly. On Mondays and on Fridays, we have general devotion. Sometimes we go for between 15 to 20 minutes. When we are having award sermons or recognizing the students, we might go for half an hour. Sinfully, sometimes we might go for 45 minutes. And when we do that, the children are standing. And not only are they are standing in the open. Sometimes if the rain comes, we know we have to run, right? We have to run to get to classes. So we would love to have a space that we can gather as a school family. We can gather for morning worship. We can gather for other assembly. And we can be together like that in a safe and comfortable space. Currently at school, we do not have like a computer lab or a reading room where the children can go for stuff like that. Everything is done in the same space. There's no space for them to sit and have their lunch except in their classroom. Children want to run free, and you want to see us as teachers running behind them to tell them, go back to your class to sit and eat, when they have been in there all morning for the entire day and they now want to run free. So it is a challenge. We need space for the children to be comfortable. Currently, I want to say thank you to donors. We have always had a relationship with the diaspora and our past students who give back to the school. And the last school year, while I was on leave, some donors, past students and others, donated some projectors. So we have 19 classrooms, and we were given projectors so that they could be distributed among the grades. So like one projector would serve for three grade 6 class. You would get one projector for the 3 special education unit class, one for grade 1, and so on. We are grateful. However, for these projectors to work, teachers now have to use their own laptops. Teachers have to we don't have laptops or computers like that, where we can just go and get it from the office, sign out. Teachers will use their personal things. And then I want to say thank you to the teachers who, when they come to the office to borrow, somebody else might have the projector or might be using something that they would want to use, and they would have put their hands in their own pockets to purchase these resources so that they can have the comfort that they need in the class. So these are things that we would have. We have never seen a smart board at Duncan's All Age School. We don't know what one looks like at Duncan's All Age School. It would be such a lovely thing if all the classes could have something like that, where it makes the work a little easier for the teacher, and the children are taken to other places using these devices, this kind of technology that is available to improve learning.
So infrastructure improvement is one of the issues. Yes. Tools, computers and computers. All challenges that, especially in these days when technology innovation is so important, computers are just essential.
Yes.
It's not a want, it's a need, it's necessary. Donna, we're going to stay on set. We're not going to take a break, and turn it over to you to talk about community service and humanitarian work.
Okay, sure. Alrighty, so we know that because we spoke about, at least you spoke about the condition of the school, right? Some of the challenges that you have, and even with some of the kids and the challenges they have and not reading and things of that nature. So when we talk about working with the marginalized youth, and the ones that are most vulnerable and they're most at risk, what is the most powerful transformation that you've witnessed in a young person that you may have mentored?
I remember, I'm not going to call the child's name. This was not, sometimes we use words that we would have inherited growing up. That one is a dunce one. Mm-hmm. That one bright. That one can do this, that one, But there was this girl. She was in a situation where her mother, in wanting to create a better life for her, left Jamaica to greener pastures and had to leave her with different persons. And I remember this child, beautiful girl, brilliant girl, but she was troubled. She wanted money. She wanted attention. She wanted somebody to be there for her. And every day would be another situation. Everything and anything would trigger her because, that need was there. That empty space was there of wanting her mother. It became very challenging at times because she would now be getting into fights. And I remember not only myself, but other teachers would have to take this child, sit with the child, talk to the child, sometimes very rough, sometimes, based on what might have happened, but other times just hugging her. And I have lived to see that girl got over those obstacles, joined with her mother in the long run, and is now contributing to society in a very positive way. Sometimes when we think about the marginalized, we think about just the child that might not have the shoes or might not have the means to come to school, but sometimes it is emotional. Mm-hmm. And as teachers, we have to, you can't replace mommy, you cannot replace daddy, but you can be a shoulder to cry on. Mm-hmm. You can be a listening ear. You can be that person who, last year I was in Atlanta, and when I got a phone, I was out with two of my students. They knew I was there and they came and they got me. And they dialed this same girl and gave her the phone. And as I have not seen that child in years nor spoken to her. And as I took the phone and said, hello, and who are you talking to? She just said something like, Miss Gilzine, of course. And that did something for me. That did something for me. We get rough sometimes. I'm not going to pretend as if I don't do the shouting at times. I'm not going to pretend as if I don't get impatient at times. Sometimes we get frustrated and flustered and we lose ourselves at times. But as teachers, we touch these lives and we get an opportunity to help them. We use it. Most of us use it and use it in a positive way.
In a positive way. So right. You're on In the Spotlight. Our guest is Principal Gilzine from Duncan's All-Age School. And there's a comment here that I must read. Mm-hmm. Siobhan Reed. I love Mrs. Gilzine. She was my grade 5 teacher, and I'm now 30. She went on to say, to date, she's one of the best person I've ever met. She's that principal that never fails to motivate, even now. And guess what? You're motivating us here on this platform.
Yeah, I'm like, can I go back and have you as my teacher?
Well, I said it earlier. My grandchildren come to her school. We're talking about inspiration, motivation, and practical knowledge. Knowledge is, because one thing to motivate is one thing to inspire, but at the end of the day, you got to give me the tool, right?
Right.
The tool I need, and she's all about that. And another teacher, Mrs. Hibbert, is saying, very true, create avenues for children to trust you as a teacher, be frank with them. And no, she's not only a teacher, she's the chairperson board for multiple schools, that she's gone through multiple schools, so she knows what she's talking about. Now, Donna, let's talk a little bit about mental health issues.
Oh.
Talk about that. Wow. Right? That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Big deal everywhere. And I want to know about needs here, urgent needs. In your specific community, school community, and outside, of your school. What are some of the challenges, and how can we better support these young minds?
Doctor, the first thing that we need to do is to be real and recognize and admit that these issues exist. When we were small growing up, when a child had mental health issues, or anybody in the community, deep rural, remember it's deep rural Jamaica? You would say somebody obey them. You would say somebody do something to them. And it would be brushed aside because it's somebody that did something to them, or they would seek other ways of trying to solve the problem. But we have to realize and admit that mental health issues in children, in adults, they are real. And one of the things is for immediate access to help is provided for them. For teachers, caregivers, and anyone that deals with children to be trained to recognize certain signs that says something is wrong with this child. I might not be able to provide the help that the child needs, but I know where to send the parent, what kind of references to make, so that the person with the issue can be helped, right? First, we have to admit it. It's there. It's there. And no amount of going to seek other places is going to help that child if we do not get professional help for the person. Train teachers, train caregivers, for them to see the signs. And I would love to see the day when each of our schools have a psychiatrist or a psychologist is attached to the school. If it's even 2 schools, that's so that they would be able to go from one to the next, see the needs and address the needs there and then, so that something that they could easily get over or deal with just counseling, with maybe some medication. A lot of persons don't want to use medication, but whatever means to help them, I would like to know that something can be put in place for these individuals to get help, for these children to get help.
Wow.
Great initiative to have some counselors in the schools.
Yep.
We would love to have that. Our school, we have 430 children, and we have 1 guidance counselor.
There's some major gaps there. Major gaps. And what can you do to tackle this problem? What can you, as a principal of Duncan's All Age School, do?
Well, number one, and this is what we have been doing over time, is our teachers. I always say, teachers, remember, we can't diagnose, but somebody will come and say, Miss Gilzine, something wrong with this one. When you get that comment and you get it over time, you know that there's a need and that need must be addressed. The child would be referred to the guidance counselor, who then makes a reference to the child guidance clinic of the Ministry of Health, where they can get help. The onus now is on the parent to commit because it takes a commitment for the parents to commit to go to that child guidance clinic. I think it's once per month. But then when we also recognize that the child has a need and we do the referral and do all that we have to do, there are times when the parents don't turn up because sometimes it is nothing is wrong with the child, denial. And another thing is need. When I stop from work to take this child to for this session, who is going to pay me? How am I going to get paid? Right? The Ministry of Education also has an initiative wherein all these children with, that we would recognize that they have needs, they will be referred to the personnel in the Ministry of Education, and then they would do the testing and recommend counseling or whatever is needed for the children.
So, I recall on one of my visits to Jamaica at a school, we're going into the different classrooms, and there was one student there, and it was obvious that something was not right. Of course, we can't diagnose, but what we did inquire, asked the principal some questions, and her response was they didn't have the resources to do the assessment. And the parents didn't have the money to go outside of the school to get the assessment done, or whatever resources they provide. So we made the donation. Made a donation for the student to get an assessment. So I imagine if that is the case, sometimes money is a factor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes money is a factor. And may I interject there, Doc? I remember we have done this in the past where we have the micro care assessment unit over there in St. Anne, because we have a special education unit at the Duncan's All-Age School. So with this, parents from all over Trelawney, sometimes even outside of Trelawney, when they realize that there's something, might be happening with their child, they would want to get the child into our special education unit. However, we cannot hold we shouldn't have more than maybe about 20 something. We have about 33 now. And it is so heart-rending when these parents come and want a space in the special education unit, and we do not have the capacity. We are full to capacity. We can't take them. We don't have enough teachers. And some of these children are coming without being assessed. So we do not know the needs that we need to fill. In the past, what we would have done, yes, working through the Ministry of Education, but also working with MicroCare, we would have raised funds, get money, beg, borrow, something, not steal, to help to get some of these children to get tested or to be assessed to see what's happening with them and how they can be helped.
Yeah. And we're talking about mental health issues, and it's not specific to Duncan's All-Age School. It's island-wide. It's everywhere. It's in every communities, every schools in Jamaica. And not just Jamaica. We're focused on Jamaica tonight, and but it's everywhere. So the conversation we're having is a conversation that is necessary. It's worth having, and we need to be more alert, more involved where mental health issues are concerned, and especially with our dreamers, our students, our young leaders. So it's very critical, essential. Donna, I'm going to turn it over to you. Let's talk a little bit about faith and leadership. For this is another big piece of Principal Gilzine's life. Let's talk about that.
All right. Yeah. So I see that, we see that you're also an elder.
Yes.
You're also an elder in the church, which, I'm quite sure that is another huge responsibility to hold as such a position as that. So what has been one of the most challenging yet rewarding experience you've had in that role? I feel like I asked a hard question.
It's a hard question. You know, I think it was a Friday night or early Saturday morning. I got 2 different phone calls. One was from my sister. The other was from another young lady who is like a sister to me. And the both of them called with the same, I would say, telling me of a situation that happened with them. Somebody, a young man, church member, turned up. I hope there are no children online. Turned up at their different places of abode and made, advances, sexual advances. And I said, what, really? At first, I felt a bit angry, and disappointment. All of those emotions came in. But then I said, you know what? The Bible says when a situation comes up, you are to go to the person in private and speak with them individually. If the person is not listening and, the situation persists, you are to go with company, go with witness, and so on. So I did the first one. I went to church and I saw the person and I said, I need to speak with you. And I spoke with the person and said, my sister plus this person told me that this happened. My sister is not going to lie to me. She's not going to fabricate things. I want you to remember that, first of all, you're a Christian. Yes, as Christians, we can fail. As Christians, we fall down along the way many times. And the person, after speaking, I wasn't angry with the person anymore. I wasn't judgmental at that, because when I heard it at first, I was angry. I'm being honest. But at the time in speaking to the person, it wasn't like that. And the individual said to me, thank you. Mm-hmm. And I've lived to see that individual grow in the church and would not go into details to say X, Y, or Z, but, to say what happened. But on many occasions would say, I have the utmost respect for Elder Gilzine, because at a time when I was at my lowest, she came to me and spoke to me, and I've never heard that conversation coming from anybody else, because it was not something for me to go and broadcast. There was a need for me as a spiritual leader at the time to speak with the individual, and I'm glad that I did. I gained a friend, and through that, I know that with one of those, that experience, he has become a stronger Christian.
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
Mm-hmm. Let's step into the future here. Let's talk about future vision. And I want, you're going to wear your teacher, so you're always giving your principal teacher, you're always giving advice, right? That's what you do. You do. No, but let's talk about legacy. Let's talk about legacy, your legacy, and not just in education, but in the hearts of those lives you have touched. What legacy do you hope to leave?
Doc, I would want to know that whether you take over from me as a teacher or educator, as a counselor, as a community member, one thing I would want persons to take is that have a heart for the people. Do not ever think that you are above or you're better off than anyone else. Meet people where they are, and if possible, help to take them from where they are to something better. That is what I want to leave with others. Never look down on anybody. Many of us have similar backgrounds. Some of us came from very unfortunate situations, but somebody found the time to help to uplift us, right? I want to leave that with others, lift up others, take them from where they are to somewhere better.
Wow. I mean, so well said. What else can we say? Donna, one final question from you, then I'll ask one question and we'll go to closing arguments.
Okay, sure. Looking back at your phenomenal life's work,
Phenomenal indeed.
if you could write a letter to your younger self, what would you say?
If I could write a letter to my younger self, I would tell myself, never allow the negatives, because I got a lot of negatives earlier on in life. Never allow the negatives to shape who you are. Strive to see the positive, even when someone tries to dish out negative to you.
Awesome.
Strive to see the positive in every and anything around you.
Wow. Positivity is the message.
Positivity.
You know, with that, I'm not even going to ask another question because that is the ultimate question right there. But what I will say, you know, Principal Gilzine, here's an opportunity for you to add anything that you'd like to add to our conversation today. Maybe there's a question we didn't ask you, but something you want to share with us. So can you please do that, please?
Doctor, I want to say, you know, it's not thank you time, but I really want to say thank you for giving me the chance to tell my story. Thank you for giving me the chance to do this evening. And I'm hoping that those that are listening can draw something from it and that we can just all strive. I'm going to repeat it, to lift up each other, to lift up each other. Let us not have a crab barrel mentality where all the crabs are walking on each other to get to the top, but let us work together so that we can strengthen each other.
Collaboration in a positive way, strengthen each other. We are a community, we're a village. Let's get to that, back to that mentality that we're here for each other, right? We are our brothers and our sisters' keeper, is what I hear you saying. Yes, we are. Donna, I'm gonna say something and then you can close out. And you know, and I know you're just that amazing closer. So, but I just want to say to Principal Gilzine that, you know, we asked you at the very last minute to come on. And I saw your diligence in getting us information about you and the seriousness and professionalism with which you approached it. You kept updating me, said, I'm not done, I'm working on it. And that's that discipline and commitment that's got you to where you are today.
Yes.
And your mentality and, you know, your mindset, because you have that kind of mindset that it's a winning. There's no such thing as failure. I sense that about you. There's no such thing as stopping, quitting, giving up. That is not who you are. And I've said it earlier, your school is a school that I would love to see my grandchildren attending. And I can only imagine how your teachers feel, you know, and operate under your leadership. They are some lucky teachers. Blessed indeed. So I just want to congratulate you. No matter what is going on, I know there are days when you probably feel a little bit tired.
Yes.
But with your intensity and commitment and dedication, it's energy going out all the time. I don't know if you sleep. And if you do, I don't know how much, because clearly when you operate, there's not time for rest because you're always working.
I do sleep, but you know, when you're driven and being driven not out of selfishness but wanting to help others, you just go on and you just want to be a positive impact on others.
Yes, and that's what we're picking up from you. You know, I want to read something from my new book. And it's a chapter, Grow Where You're Planted. And you said something earlier about your circumstances, your situation. And that's why I grabbed this chapter. And imagine a seed, small, unassuming, yet packed with potential. Like you, this seed doesn't get to choose where it falls. It could land in fertile soil or on a patch of rock. Its destiny, seemingly left to chance, is a testament to resilience and potential. This metaphor speaks powerful to your own life. You don't choose where you start. You inherit circumstances, some favorable, some challenging. Here lies the crux of my message in this chapter. It's not where you're planted that defines you, it's how you choose to grow. And that is on page 122 from Daily Insights Unveiled, the book that Donna talked about earlier. Get it. The link is it's available on Amazon, on my website. The link is in the caption. It's a must read. It's a must read. And Donna, you said it earlier. So Donna, I'm going to turn it over to you to do your final thing as only you can.
All righty. So once again, I'm just going to say thank you, Ms. Gilzine, for just being here with us, sharing so much knowledge and also your authenticity in what you're doing and your gift, right? It's a gift that not just your profession, not just your career, but it just jumps out at us through this screen here, is that this is a gift that you have for taking care of the kids and your community on a whole. Also to our listeners, thank you so much for spending your Thursday evening with us. I know we were, a little bit over on time, but I'm telling you, this conversation here, we're going to have her come back, because this is a conversation that we have to keep having, because we're talking about the children. We're talking about our future, just like what she said. If we're not positive, these are the children who they're going to turn around and take care of us one day. So this is a conversation we got to continue having so we can empower each other to continue being positive, to pour into our young people. So thank you for joining us this Thursday evening. Remember to go out, purchase your ticket for the colloquium, February 22nd. You want to be at Shiloh High School, and you will receive a copy of that wonderful work of art there. I'm going to call it all kinds of things. Work of art, a body of work. It is just so powerful, right? Definitely go out and purchase your tickets. And I would like to ask each and every single person who have joined us this evening, go out and do something kind tomorrow. Choose a stranger, not your friend and not your family member, not someone you know, a perfect total stranger. Do something kind, and let's go ahead and spread the kindness on Friday. We're going to call it Kindness Friday, okay? It's going to be Kindness Friday. So every Thursday, you're going to hear this. Go out there and do something kind, and let's just continue to care for each other. And so I do thank you, and go ahead and have a really great rest of the week. I know I'm going to be a little bit off until I get my days right, because we change schedules. So I know we're always at the weekend, but nevertheless, do enjoy the remainder of your week, and please be safe.
And join us Monday for Bridging Generations Voices of Men at 7:30. We're going to be having an engaging, impactful conversation. All right, so let's take it home. We'll ask Principal Gilzine to hang out with us for a second, and let's take it home.
I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid, I'm a boy kid. I wake up in the morning and I praise the Lord. I thank Him for His protection, and I walk in His steps, declaring that today's provision is set up for me. I love God and I love my friends. I'm a boy kid. I'm a boy kid. kid, I'm a bold kid. I put on my armor and I read his word, blessing come out of my mouth. Cause I know to whom I belong, I am bold.